Some films don't just tell a story, they involve you in it, implicate you in its lie, and then force you to live with the consequences. Joy Wright's Atonement 2007, adapted from Ian McEwan's novel, is exactly that kind of film. Through the lens of reader response criticism, which shifts focus from what the author intended to how the audience interprets and emotionally engages with the text, Atonement becomes not just a story about guilt and love, but a story about how we, the viewers, become morally entangled with fiction. From the very beginning, Atonement presents itself as a classical period romance. The cinematography is lush, the characters are beautiful, and there is a piano music, long glances, and secret letters. It's easy to expect a tragic yet ultimately redemptive love story. But this expectation is a setup, and the audience walks right into it. Take the fountain scene. We watch as young Briony misreads an interaction between her sister Cecilia and Robbie. But here's the twist. So do we. We, as a viewer, see Cecilia strips down to her underwear and dives into the fountain to retrieve a broken piece of a vase. But without the full context, the moment feels charred and confusing. This scene is a good example of how Atonement uses reader response criticism as a narrative instrument. Film don't just tell a story, it puts the viewer in Briony's position, compelling us to experience the consequences of her limited, childish perspective, and we judge along with her. This captures the core of reader response criticism, meaning it's not passively received from the author, but actively constructed by the reader in the act of interpretation.
You saw him then?
Yes, I saw him.
Just as you see me?
I know it was him.
You know it was him? Or you saw him?
Yes, I did. I saw him.
With your own eyes?
Yes. I saw him. I saw him with my own eyes,
says Briony with certainty. But the film invites us to realize her eyes are not reliable, and neither are ours. By aligning us with Briony's point of view early on, the film implicates us. We're not just watching her make a mistake, we're emotionally participating in it. And that's the first betrayal. As the narrative progresses, Atonement draws us deeper into emotional investment. We follow Robbie to war. We feel the ache of separation. We hope desperately that he and Cecilia will be reunited. Eventually, the film seems to deliver. We see them together in her London apartment. There's a kiss, a sense of peace, and a fragile hope. But then, the film rips it away.
But a final act of kindness. I gave them their happiness,
said the older Briony. No, Rita. She confessed none of it was real. Robbie died of sepsis at Dunkirk. Cecilia died in a bombing, and they never saw each other again. And in that moment, the viewer is betrayed. Beautifully, cruelly, and completely. By the end of the film, we face a complex question. Can Briony be forgiven, or can you forgive someone if they haven't forgiven themselves? Briony isn't a villain in the usual sense. Her character sucks, that's true. But she was just a kid who made a terrible mistake. She was a kid when she falsely accused Robbie. As an adult, she devotes her life to guilt, to reflection, to the desperate act of storytelling as a form of penance. Later, an adult woman trying to make up for it, and then you sit there thinking, well, she didn't mean to be bad, or did she? Here's the catch. The film actually makes us the judges. Would you forgive her? But who are you to judge? I mean, she was just a kid, a child who didn't fully understand or control her emotions. She wasn't responsible for how she felt. But on the other hand, was she selfish? She actually invented a beautiful ending, not for herself, but for them. She created a hopeful ending because reality was pure hell. But did she have the right to do that? And there's where the moral ambiguity kicks in. As the viewer, you become part of her atonement. You either forgive her or judge her. And there's no right answer. That's the power of the film. It doesn't just make you feel sympathy. It makes you feel personally responsible.
I'm very, very sorry for the terrible distress that I've caused,
she says quietly and honestly. She invents a happier ending for Robbie and Cecilia, not for herself, but as a gift to them, or at least to their memory. And yet, the viewer is left to decide. Was it her place to do that? Can she truly make amends through fiction? Atonement doesn't answer these questions. It passes the judgment over to us. And this is where reader response criticism becomes more than theory. It becomes experience. Atonement is not simply a film about love, war, or childhood mistakes. It's a film about what it means to be a viewer, and how our own emotional responses can blind us. By the end, we aren't just watching a story, we are part of it. And what we choose to feel, sympathy, anger, forgiveness, says as much about us as it does about her. In her book, she wrote that she gave them happiness, but maybe, just maybe, the happiness was meant for us, and we accepted it, even after we knew it was all a lie.